Look, we have all heard the elitists at the range say that if you aren't dropping $1,000 on a custom sidearm, you're just carrying a paperweight. But let's get real for a second. The firearms market right now is absolutely flooded, and prices are crashing harder than we have seen in over a decade. You do not need a safe full of safe queens to protect your home or get some quality reps at the steel. Today, I am cutting through the noise and the snobbery to show you 7 firearms that are sitting at rock-bottom prices right now. We are talking about proven, reliable tools that leave you with plenty of cash left over for a mountain of training ammo. These aren't some sketchy off-brand mysteries hidden in a back alley. These are real-world workhorses that I've personally seen run circles around guns twice their price. We're going to look at the internals, the ballistics, and the hard truths about what makes these guns a steal today. Let's get into it. Number 7, Rossi RS-22. Starting us off at number 7 is the Rossi RS-22. If you're looking for the absolute cheapest entry point into the semi-auto rimfire world, this is your winner. While other brands are hiking prices, you can still find the RS-22 sitting on shop shelves for around $150, and sometimes even lower on the used racks. Mechanically, it is a straight blowback action. In the world of 22LR, simplicity is king. The bolt relies entirely on its own mass and the tension of the recoil spring to stay closed until pressures drop to a safe level. It features an 18-inch free-floating barrel and a 10-round detachable magazine that is actually cross-compatible with Mossberg 702 Plinkster mags. This is a huge win for logistics because those mags are everywhere. The pros. The biggest pro here is the weight. At just 4 pounds, you can carry this thing through the woods all day without feeling it. The fiber optic sights it ships with are surprisingly high quality for this price point, giving you a bright green and red contrast that makes target acquisition a breeze, even in low light. Also, the trigger has a very predictable break for a budget rifle, making it a fantastic trainer for new shooters. The cons. Now, for the downsides. The stock is a very basic polymer. It's functional, but it feels a bit hollow, almost like a toy. More importantly, being a blowback rimfire, it is sensitive to ammo fouling. If you're running dirty bolt pack, lead round nose, you're going to see carbon build up on the feed ramps and the extractor. Once that happens, you'll start getting failures to extract. You've got to keep that action lightly lubed, not bone dry, to keep it cycling. It is the ultimate truck gun. It stays dirt cheap because the market is saturated with 22 cal rifles, but in terms of rounds per dollar fun, nothing beats it. It's not a precision match rifle, but for popping squirrels or ringing steel at 50 yards, it's a bargain king. Number 6. Savage Axis. Coming in at number 6 is the Savage Axis. This is the budget bolt gun that keeps showing up on sale racks like it pays rent there. Now, don't let that bargain bin reputation fool you. The reason these prices are crashing isn't because the rifle is a lemon. It's because Savage produced such a massive volume of these units that the used market is absolutely saturated. You can find these at big box stores as a package rifle with a basic scope already mounted, making it the go-to recipe for moving units fast. Mechanically, the Axis is built on a push-feed bolt system featuring dual locking lugs and a 90-degree bolt lift. The real secret sauce, however, is Savage's signature barrel nut manufacturing process. This allows them to set the headspace with extreme precision and consistency on a mass production scale without the need for expensive hand-fitting. It usually ships with a lightweight sporter barrel and a synthetic stock designed to keep the overall weight down for hunters in the field. The pros. The biggest pro is the accuracy. For a rifle that often costs under $300 used, its ability to hold tight groups is legendary. If you pick up the Axis 2C variant, you get the adjustable ACU trigger, which provides a crisp, clean break that you'd normally expect on a much more expensive rig. It's a functional, no-nonsense tool that consistently punches above its weight class. The cons, on the flip side, you definitely see where they shave the costs. The original Axis triggers can feel heavy and a bit gritty. The synthetic stock is the weakest point. It's fairly flexible, and if you torque it too hard on a bipod, it can actually touch the barrel and shift your point of impact. Also, those free scopes in the bundle kits are usually the first thing to fail. If your groups are opening up, I'd bet money it's the glass or the mounts, not the rifle itself. The Savage Axis ties this list together because it's common and functional. It stays cheap because the market is flooded, not because it's cursed. Swap out that budget glass, and you have a sub-MOA rifle for a fraction of the cost of a Tikka or a Bergara. Number 5. Heritage Rough Rider. At number 5, we have the Heritage Rough Rider. Now, if you want to talk about dirt cheap and simple, this is the pinnacle. Single-action 22 revolvers stay affordable because the design hasn't really changed since the days of the Wild West, and the job they do is basic. Slow down, line up those sights, and get your reps in. The Rough Rider is a tribute to the old-school single-action Army layout. You've got a loading gate on the side and an ejector rod for kicking out spent casings one at a time. To keep the price in the basement, Heritage uses an aluminum alloy frame paired with a steel barrel and a steel cylinder. Most of these are 6-shot capacity in 22 LR. One of the coolest technical features is that many models are convertible. You can actually swap in a 22 WMR cylinder if you want a little more punch for small game hunting. The pros. The biggest pro here is the fun factor per dollar. For usually well under $200, you get a solid trainer that teaches trigger discipline and sight alignment. Because it's a single action, the trigger pull is typically very crisp because it only has one job, to drop the hammer. It also features a manual thumb safety, which isn't traditional for these types of revolvers, but it's a great addition for first-time shooters or as an extra layer of don't do something dumb. Security. The cons. Now, let's talk reality. The finish is basic, it's not a high-polish heirloom piece, and it will show wear if you use it hard. The sights are usually fixed gutter sights, meaning you can't adjust them if your point of aim doesn't match your point of impact. Also, because it's a cheap alloy frame, you need to keep an eye on the cylinder face and the forcing cone. After a long day at the range, lead and carbon buildup can actually start to affect the timing or cause spitting if you don't scrub it down. The Heritage Rough Rider is the ultimate plinker. It stays cheap because the manufacturing is streamlined and the materials are cost-effective, not because it's a disposable toy. If you want to feel like a cowboy on a budget, this is the only way to go. Number 4, Mossberg Maverick 88. At number 4, we have the Mossberg Maverick 88. If you have been around the gun world for more than 5 minutes, you know this is basically the work truck version of the legendary Mossberg 500. While other manufacturers are trying to reinvent the wheel with fancy features, Mossberg just took a proven design and stripped it down to the bare essentials that actually matter when things go south. You can usually find these sitting on the rack for under $250, which is insane for a firearm this capable. Mechanically, the Maverick 88 is a pump-action shotgun that shares the same general layout as its big brother, the 500. It features a lightweight aluminum alloy receiver and uses the same locking system where the bolt locks directly into the barrel extension. This means the receiver itself isn't taking the brunt of the pressure from a 12-gauge shell. Most importantly, it keeps the dual-action bars from the original design. This prevents the forend from binding or twisting when you're cycling the action under stress, a common failure point in other bargain bin pumps. The pros. The biggest pro is the reliability and the ecosystem. Since it shares so much DNA with the 500, it is compatible with a massive variety of Mossberg barrels and stocks. It's simple, it's serviceable, and it's boring in the best way possible. The security version typically gives you a 20-inch barrel with an 8-round capacity, or the standard 18.5-inch barrel with a 5+1 setup. It's also largely assembled in the US with components from Mexico, which is how they keep the cost so low without it becoming a mystery gun. The cons, to hit that price point, they had to make some changes. The most obvious is the safety. Instead of the classic Mossberg Tang safety on top, the Maverick uses a cross-bolt safety located on the trigger guard. Also, the forend is pinned to the action bars, meaning you can't easily swap out the pump handle for an aftermarket one without replacing the whole slide tube assembly. The finish is a basic bluing or parkerization that is functional but won't win any beauty contests, and the furniture is plain black polymer that feels exactly like what it is, budget-friendly. The Maverick 88 is the ultimate insurance policy. It stays cheap because the market is flooded with them and the manufacturing is streamlined. It is a proven, battle-tested design that doesn't care about cool points. It only cares about going bang every single time you rack that slide. Number 3, Ruger EC9S. Coming in at number 3 is the Ruger EC9S. This is one of those pistols that ends up being dirt cheap because it got shoved into the shadow of the newer, high-capacity micro-compacts, not because it's some off-brand gamble. Ruger essentially took their proven LC9S platform and shaved costs in specific areas that don't affect the firearm's ability to cycle. You can regularly find these for around $250, which is a massive value for a striker-fired gun from a top-tier American company. This is a slim, single-stack striker-fired 9mm built on a glass-filled nylon frame with a through-hardened alloy steel slide. It utilizes a locked breech tilting barrel action with a barrel length of exactly 3.12 inches. The internal fire control system is remarkably simple, which is what allows Ruger to keep the price floor so low. It feeds from a 7-round magazine, giving you a total capacity of 7+1 in a package that is less than an inch wide. The pros. The biggest pro is the trigger. For a budget-oriented carry gun, the trigger pull on the EC9S is surprisingly short and crisp with a very positive reset. It is also incredibly thin and light, weighing in at just over 17 ounces, making it one of the most comfortable guns on this list to carry inside the waistband all day long. Despite the small size, the recoil is very manageable with standard pressure, 115 or 124 grain loads, because the spring tension is tuned perfectly for the slide mass. The cons. Where you see the cost cutting is in the sights. Unlike the pricier models, the EC9S features sights that are actually machined directly into the slide. This means you cannot swap them out for night sights or optics later on. The finish is a basic black oxide that is functional but prone to showing holster wear over time. Also, because it is so slim, grip consistency is vital. If you have large hands, you might find your pinky hanging off the bottom unless you use the included finger grip extension floor plate. The EC9S is the ultimate no excuses carry gun. It stays cheap because it lacks the bells and whistles of the Max 9, but it retains the rugged reliability that your life can depend on. It's a slim, trim, fighting machine that is currently at its lowest price point ever. Number 2, CZP-10C. At number 2, we have the CZP-10C. If you want proof that prices are crashing, look no further than this right here. Not too long ago, this was a $500 plus firearm competing directly with the Glock 19. But right now, due to a massive overstock and a shift in CZ's global distribution, you can find these brand new for around $300 to $325. This isn't just a good-for-the-money gun, this is a world-class duty pistol at a pawn shop price. The 10C is a striker-fired, polymer-framed, compact 9mm. It utilizes a traditional Browning-type tilting barrel with a very robust, locked breech system. The slide is finished in a specialized nitride coating that is incredibly resistant to corrosion and scratches. Inside, you'll find a cold hammer forged barrel, a hallmark of CZ quality which ensures a long service life and exceptional accuracy. The frame features an aggressive grip texture and interchangeable backstraps to fit various hand sizes. The pros. The absolute standout feature of the P10C is the trigger. It is widely considered one of the best out-of-the-box striker-fired triggers on the market, featuring a very clean break and a tactile audible reset that is incredibly short. The ergonomics are another huge win. The bore axis is very low, meaning the barrel sits closer to your hand, which helps significantly with muzzle flip and rapid fire control. It also uses metal 3-dot sights as standard, not the plastic mushy sights you find on other competitors in this new price bracket. The cons, there aren't many, but for some shooters, the grip texture might be a little too aggressive. If you have soft hands, or you're shooting hundreds of rounds in a single session, that texturing can start to feel like sandpaper. Also, while CZ magazines are high quality, they are typically more expensive than Glock or Magpul magazines, so your long-term costs for extra mags will be slightly higher. Lastly, the slide release can be notoriously stiff on brand new models, though it usually breaks in nicely after the first couple of hundred rounds. The CZ P10C is the steal of the century right now. It stays cheap because CZ is clearing out inventory, but the performance is strictly top shelf. If you have $300 and you want a gun that can do it all from home defense to concealed carry, this is the smart man's choice. Number 1, Taurus G3C. At the number 1 spot, we have the Taurus G3C. Forget everything you thought you knew about budget pistols from 10 years ago. While prices are crashing elsewhere, Taurus has been doubling down on quality control and features, making the G3C the absolute king of the dirt cheap carry market. You can routinely find these for around $230, and for that price, you are getting a package that rivals guns costing twice as much. The G3C is a striker-fired, polymer-framed, subcompact 9mm. It utilizes a standard tilting barrel locked breech action, but what makes it unique is the restrike capability. If you pull the trigger and have a hard primer that doesn't ignite, the G3C allows you to pull the trigger again in double action mode without having to rack the slide to reset the striker. It features a 3.2-inch stainless steel barrel and comes standard with three 12-round Teflon-coated magazines right out of the box. The pros. The standout pro is the feature set. Unlike many budget guns, the G3C comes with metal sights that are compatible with aftermarket Glock-style sights, giving you endless customization options. The ergonomics are excellent, with memory pads for your thumb and trigger finger to ensure a consistent grip every time you draw. The trigger itself is a significant upgrade over previous generations, featuring a flat-face design that helps with a more linear, predictable pull. It is also remarkably reliable. Taurus has really cleaned up their manufacturing act, and these things tend to eat whatever 9mm ammo you feed them. The cons. On the downside, the trigger reset is quite long compared to something like the CZ we just talked about. You have to let the trigger out almost all the way before it clicks back into place. Also, while the finish is better than it used to be, it isn't as durable as a high-end nitride or Cerakote, so you'll want to keep it lightly oiled to prevent any surface rust if you carry it in a humid environment. Lastly, some shooters find the manual thumb safety to be a bit small or unnecessary, though it is very positive and clicks into place with authority. The Taurus G3C is the ultimate budget disruptor. It stays cheap because Taurus has mastered the art of high-volume, low-cost manufacturing, but they haven't sacrificed the features that modern shooters actually want. If you are on a strict budget but refuse to compromise on capacity or capability, this is your #1 pick. The firearms market is shifting right under our feet. For years, we've seen prices climb higher and higher, but right now, the tide has turned. High-quality, dependable hardware is more accessible than ever before, and you do not need to go into debt or empty your savings just to exercise your Second Amendment rights or put food on the table. Whether you are looking for a simple, rugged plinker like that Rossi RS-22, a battle-proven pump gun like the Maverick 88, or a world-class duty pistol like the CZ-P10C, there has quite literally never been a better time to be a buyer. Don't let the gear snobs tell you otherwise. A shot on target from a $300 CZ counts just as much as one from a $3,000 custom build. Take advantage of these crashing prices while they last, get yourself some extra mags, and most importantly, get out to the range and put in the work. Training is what makes the difference, not the price tag on your slide. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and help us beat the algorithm. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below letting me know which one of these deals you're pulling the trigger on. Stay sharp.